Hello everyone, and welcome to another mock video. Today I did not have time to write a script, so bear with me as I ramble through this in real time. These are 4 builds, well maybe 3.5 builds, that I put together at different points in time, just kind of improvising, building whatever came to mind without any end goal in mind. They're all kind of directionless, I guess you would call them in that way. None of them have like a specific purpose in mind that I gave them. None of them have names, certainly. But I still like them. I think they're cool. I think they're a little bit interesting. I think they're definitely worth getting some type of attention, so I decided to lump them all together and call this video a Mech Suit Madness. So let's get into them one at a time, and I'll tell you a little more about them. Alright, we're going to start out with this blue guy, because I like him the most. The inspiration behind him, or at least the starting point for his build, was this big box head that he has. Quite a while ago, I saw some piece of art of a robot or a mech or something mechanical that had a pretty box-like head and basically this sort of body shape to it, and for whatever reason it stuck with me. I thought it looked cool, I thought I wanted to build something like it, and Bluey here is the result. Like I said, no other direction here. A couple printed pieces here. I really like this one, just kind of a speech bubble looking sticker on the side of his head. Little video game piece back there. I don't know if you can see it very well, but yeah, he was just kind of fun to build and basically ended up being an excuse for me to experiment with different textures. For some reason, the 2 grill pieces here on his lower torso I'm a big fan of. His legs I really like. I think his shoulders might be too wide. I haven't made up my mind on that. I keep going back and forth on whether or not this looks proportional or whether or not his shoulders need to be brought in a little bit. So, I don't know. Tell me what you think. I like his big antenna. I don't know why he has it, but it looks cool. Come around the back and see his little backpack there, and let's get a better look at the pilot. To get a better look at the pilot's cockpit, we first have to take a look at the mech's head, that block head that I was talking about earlier, and as you can see, I got to use one of my favorite pieces again, which is this book cover piece in transparent blue, or really any transparent color, but I've got the most in blue. Behind it, you can see those round, printed 1x1 tiles that they usually use on brickhead sets, but I figured they looked pixely enough that you could imagine them being like some kind of LED screen on the mech's face. You are able to open this by pulling the head back, which does kind of ruin the illusion that this is a screen that these are projected on, but so be it. See the pilot sitting inside, and we pull her out just like so. And here's a better look at mech and pilot together. Just a couple of average citizens in my LEGO world. No higher purpose, no secret resistance, no mercenary activity, just a couple of people you might see on the street. And that's pretty okay with me. Now you can probably already see that this is pretty similar to the mech we just looked at, and that is because I actually built this one first. I was inspired by that same piece of art. I used that same blockhead design and just kind of had a lot of fun with it, and since I was already just doing casual fun builds, I just decided to do another one in a slightly different flavor, so now I guess they're siblings in that way. I guess you could say if this one's Beach Boys, this one's Daft Punk, since for whatever reason these both make me think of music. I guess it makes a little more sense with him. And yeah, I don't really know what I was doing or what I was thinking while I was building this, so I ended up with something pretty weird. I know I started using black, which kind of made me think about the Ultra Agents color scheme as I started trying to figure out ways to add color. The white came first, and then the trans blue, and a little bit of trans orange since I was already in full Ultra Agents mode. Started adding these printed tiles throughout him. He's even got the Venom one down on his leg. He just ended up having the vibe of like a walking nightclub, so I leaned into it and put on these giant cartoon speakers on his back. So I guess he's the mech suit equivalent of some guy you see walking down the street with music booming out of who knows where. He's just a party wherever he goes. I'm a really big fan of these diamond pieces representing his eyes. Pretty similar to what I did for the other one, but yeah, this one just feels a bit more party-ish. Taking a better look at those eyes and at his head, you'll see it's almost identical to the previous version, even though this technically is the previous version, and as such, open up the cockpit exactly the same way, pull the pilot out exactly the same way, and I gotta say, I'm a big fan of this pilot. He looks exactly like how you would expect somebody with a mech suit like this to look. Just some dude. And speaking of just some dude, I don't even know what this is or what it's for. It doesn't have any weapons, but it looks mean and military and mass-produced, so maybe it should have weapons. The only other thing I can think of it is maybe some kind of industrial work, like a mine or something. It looks a little, I don't know, too covered for construction. Like the pilot's way too protected. It's kind of over-designed in that way. But every time I've added something to it, it just doesn't look right to me. I am very proud of the fact that I didn't use ball joints for the shoulders, since I definitely rely on ball joints too much and need to be better at moving away from those. This little printed tile right here looks good to me. We can get a fun little sneak peek at the pilot by opening this little hatch. I forgot to put the pilot in. Alright, for real this time. You can get a better look at the pilot sitting inside by opening this funny little hatch here. And there's his head. Or you can just open the entire cockpit, and there he is. He's just an aim guy because I already don't know what's going on, so might as well just throw in a minifigure I think looks cool. Yeah. There it is. This one's the biggest mystery of all to me because I just don't even know where to go with it. And last but not least is what could very easily have been a Into the Spider-Verse reference if I had different parts in different colors, but instead it ended up being the last mech in this video. Now if you know me and you've seen my Ralphie video or even the very last video I put out, you know one of my favorite things is a robot that's also a mech, that's also a fun little companion for a minifigure. And I am constantly looking for any new way to do that. And today I felt like messing around with one of those minifigure shoulder pieces again to use it as a cockpit because it's a cool piece. And this is what I came up with. I'm sure a lot of people will say Diva, I'm sure a lot of people will say the Spider-Mech like I mentioned from Into the Spider-Verse, but I don't know, it's just a happy little round boy and it's minifigure. I like how it looks, and you're able to extend out the body as seen here to convert it into a little mech suit for the pilot. I like to think this is just an emergency scenario since the pilot is not very well protected. But it does mean I get to have one of my favorite things, which is a funny little mech suit with a pilot that is covering its head and only its head. I don't know why I enjoy that so much, but it brings me great joy. You can also come around the back here and see that there's a pair of thrusters on its back, so if stuff is way too heated, just fly out of there. Also, these guns with the little clips on the top are just absolute godsends for building tiny little mechs with little guns under their little arms. What fun! And since this was such a fun little mech to build, and because I think it has kind of a fighter jet sort of vibe to it with the big bubble cockpit, I decided to make another one that was just straight up a fighter jet, with all the plain gray and thrusters on the back, same as the original. And the pilot's even got a fighter pilot kind of vibe to him. Again, I don't really know where this would fit into my LEGO world, maybe just some dude who's a big nerd for early 21st century aircraft and based a mech suit off of it. I don't know, maybe he's doing some cosplay. But I like how it looks. Something about a plain gray mech suit that's just very satisfying to me. And that'll do it. Another Mech Suit Madness video in the books with hopefully many, many more to come. What do you think of this bunch of misfits? I think there's a little bit of charm to them, but I built them, so of course I would say that. They're like my children who I can't bear to say anything bad about, except for all the bad things I said about them. But, like I said, if you want to build them, the instructions will be available on my PayHip page. The link will be down in the description, as well as my pinned comment. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you really like the video, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of these guys. I've been Mindbender, and I will talk to you later.